Hi guys, hi, hello, how's it going? How you doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I'm doing a shop my stash rotation, but today is going to be a little bit different actually. There's not going to be any rotation. I want to go through the products that have been in my shop my stash for the last like several months. I think I pulled them in late September, early October to utilize, to get familiar with, and then the plan was to come back in winter and do it again, obviously, and continue the rotation of my shop my stash. While I do want to continue the rotation of my shop my stash, I also want to film some collection videos for you guys, and that's really hard to do when your collection is just kind of all over the place. So I am going to pause shop my stash until I can get my collection videos done, which I hope to have the collection videos out for you guys after my inventory, after all the other videos that I have done, so that you guys can see my collection as a whole in a nutshell. Maybe do some declutters at that point in time. I don't know that I'll do that because I'm really comfortable with my collection right now, but I want to go through all these items with you that I've had in my shop my stash rotation, tell you how I feel about them, and then we'll pause shop my stash for a month or two, and then we'll come back and do a rotation in probably March for springtime. So that'll give me a chance to kind of just blow through some of my Project Pan products as well, and yeah, just use whatever I want to use. So let's start like we always do by walking through all of these, and then we will get you out of here. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high-end colorful beauty and self-care. I also work in the beauty industry as a field leader for Ulta Beauty, so I get a lot of education in my position. I like to bring you that education here. Ultimately, I'm just out here talking about makeup. I love to talk about makeup, and I think that you probably do too if you're here. So I encourage you, please subscribe to the channel. I do a lot of fun stuff here, and I would love to welcome you in to my YouTube fam. And with that said, let's do the thing. This is the drawer that sits in my vanity, which is over there. It's the top drawer. I have a glass top so I can see all these products. They're always forefront of my mind. Usually that's where I keep my shop, my stash items. But I do want to walk through these things with you. So we're going to start over here with all of this stuff that's just kind of floating around in the drawer. I had brought in several foundations. So let's start with these guys. First and foremost, this is so old in my collection. I just put lotion on so that my hands weren't all dry and cracky for you guys, but that's gonna be maybe a catalyst to this not going so well today. But this Hourglass Vanish Stick has been in my collection forever. And when I pulled it in, I really thought that I was going to potentially have to declutter this at the end of the day because I didn't think it was going to be very good. While I don't 100% love the way it's sitting on my hand right now, I think that you guys can see along the edges, it did blend in so beautifully, and it is definitely my shade. You can't even tell I'm wearing anything, which is why I love this in the first place and why I will be holding on to it go forward. I feel some sort of way about it because I feel like it should be bad. It's been in my collection forever. There's so much product left in here though, and it smells fine. There's nothing growing on it. It's good. It's solid. I think that it is perfectly fine. So we are going to hold on to it, but I'm going to make a mental note that this probably needs to get used up in my collection within, the next year. I do think that it potentially is bad. Now, when I wore it, I did break out. Like, I have a little pimple on like my chin area, but I'm not sure it was that. I've been sick. My kids are little biological terrorists. So they got the whole house sick. And I think that that might have something to do with it. The Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue. This is a tinted hydrating gel cream. You guys, this is in the shade Natural. And if I didn't tell you, the Hourglass Vanish Stick is in the shade Shell. I should start with, I am dry skin for the most part. Usually really fairly normal skin, leaning dry. And I am light neutral shade. And if there is an olive in the foundation, I will swing a little more olive. I try and stick very like middle of the road, light neutral, maybe olive complected. This Shell is actually a pretty perfect shade for me. And I'm not sure if it's like a warm or if it's a neutral or what it is, but I really love it. I found renewed love in that stick. This Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Tinted Hydrating Gel Cream, broad spectrum SPF 30. I'm sure the SPF is, no longer working in this product because I've had it for quite some time. That's bound to be expired. I am in the shade Natural 05 in this. I think that this is a little bit too like orange for my complexion right off the bat. I do think that this is a beautiful product though, so I try and make it work. This is one of my favorite skin tints just because it's so good to the skin. It lays on the skin so well. It is kind of like jelly-like when it comes out. It's got a different kind of texture, so it's really weird. And this is the only foundation in my collection that I put on with my fingers because I can't stand the way it looks with a brush or with a sponge. What I will say is that I do think that this is maybe too orange of a shade for me. So I do think it might be okay for me during the warmer months when I do have a little bit more color. It does look really good on my skin. I think that you guys can see that it looks really good on my skin, but I also think that you can definitely tell where it is on my skin. You shouldn't be able to do that with all of your foundations unless it's just slight. This is slight, but it's more orange than it is like tan. So I'm talking myself into keeping it, which might mean that I should just let it go and get a different shade. The truth of the matter is I have so many tinted moisturizers, tinted hydrators, tinted foundation skin tints that I love so much more. I think I've just talked myself out of it. I think I need to declutter this. It's just not the right shade anymore. And it's really old, to be honest. This Tarte Maracuja Juicy Oil, this is in the shade Light Neutral or 16N Fair Light Neutral. This is really pretty, but it's also really glowy. It reminds me a lot of the Glowish stuff that I got, the Skin Tint by Glowish or the What by Glowish that kind of turns me into a disco ball. Do I like it? Yes. But I have to use it in the smallest amount or I do feel like it makes me look like a grease ball. So I will hold on to this. I did like it a whole lot, but again, it's really, really dewy. So if you are not somebody who likes a little bit of dew, you're definitely not going to like that guy. This is the Dior Forever Natural Nude Foundation. This is the foundation for those of us that like a little bit less coverage, I guess. Are we focused? We're not. There we go. Sorry if that was not focused. This is beautiful. This is in the shade 2CR, so Too Cool Rosy. I feel like this was a very perfect match for my skin. I didn't have any problems trying to blend it in, and you guys can see I used the heck out of this guy. And granted, it was kind of sitting like cockeyed in here, so it's not as far down as this appears, but I would say it's probably sitting about here. I didn't want to put this up. So I love this. I will hold on to it probably forever. I love that so dang much. This House Labs, I can't say anything bad about. I honestly Really love this as well. This is the House Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation in 190 Light Cool. This does lean a little bit more olive. I feel like this is really great for my complexion as well. It does currently make me look a little bit green, but I think it's because I don't have any warmth in my skin, no sun on my skin, because, you know, Western Washington, it's been raining for 500,000 days. I love this. I think it looks beautiful on my skin, so I will keep it around. This is my Chanel Numero Un. This is an amazing foundation. I do have this one in the shade BD31. I think that this one leans a little bit warm for me. I did get it in the summertime when I did purchase it and was color matched for it. So I know that this color matches me quite well actually when I am a little more tan or have seen a little more sun than I am currently seeing. I did wear it the other day. I was reminded at how beautiful it was over the last month, so I will hold on to it. And this has been the shock of my year. This is the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Hydrating Foundation. I picked this up for my daughter in like August for her birthday, in her shade, of course. And it looked so good on her skin that I was like, I need to try that foundation out. Now, she is oily complected. I am normal leaning dry, so it could have gone very wrong, but this looks amazing on my skin. And this foundation is like $13 or something. I did pick this up in the shade Light 60 Neutral. I feel like this is a really good shade for me. I did pick this up in my trying drugstore haul that I purchased in September and did in, I think, October. I love this foundation, but that was a surprise for me because, as I said at the beginning of the video, I'm more of a high-end bougie bee, so ColourPop foundation being fantastic was a shocker to me. Here's the true tea though. One of my favorite foundations my friend JC purchased for me in a subscriber buys my makeup. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll put it up here in the screen. It's one of my favorite foundations, and that's also drugstore. I did pull in some concealers as well and correctors. This Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Vitamin CC stick is honestly really nice. It's a great like color corrector for under eyes. It's beautiful. It melts right into your skin. It doesn't really do anything to exacerbate any texture. I feel like concealers go super great right over the top of it. So love this product. This corrector, here's the true tea. My face isn't nearly as red as I thought it was. And with me using like olive toned foundations, I don't need a green color corrector as much as I thought I did. However, what I have found use for in this product is really utilizing it on my chest. I'm sure that you guys have seen in my videos that my chest is just really red. Like, I think it's sun damage. If I put this on my chest and then buff it into my skin with a brush, my chest looks not blotchy and red, and that has been something I've been doing a lot lately with this product. I mean, I think that you can see there's been quite a bit of use with this. So I love this and I will keep it around. After I got done with it and decapanning, I really did think it was something I was going to have to declutter because I'm just not as red as I thought I was. That pimple that's on my chin, this has also been my saving grace for hiding the redness and the irritation that surrounds a pimple. I don't normally get pimples, so that's been nice to have around. On that same note, this one, this LA Girl Pro Conceal, this is in pink. This has been amazing for brightening up my under eyes. I have loved it. I will hold on to it. I will keep it around. That's another product that I feel like LA Girl does a really good job at. This Urban Decay color correcting fluid is so old. I don't know if you guys remember, but these were discontinued in like 2019, early 2019, I think. When I found out they were discontinuing them, I bought a bunch of them in backup, and I didn't open this one until recently. It's only been, I don't know, still longer than it should be, but I think it's probably been about a year. This is in the shade Peach, and I don't mind it. It's fine. But I just think that I prefer other color correctors over this one. So I do think that I want to declutter this, but I also know that it's in line for my project pan this year. So it doesn't smell bad. It still functions well. It doesn't seep into fine lines and wrinkles. It's not like the texture of it hasn't changed or anything like that. I will hold on to this for the sake of the project pan that it's, set up to go into, but other than that, I could get rid of that. And that will leave my collection at the end of the year if even if it's not empty. This was another shocker. I think that you guys can see, look at how much of this I've used. Now, I think that this is disgusting, but I do love this concealer. And for this concealer to have as much love from me as it does is wild, because I'm not a huge fan of concealers. I have a couple of favorites, but for a drugstore one specifically, listen, I might have to start looking at drugstore makeup a little more than what I currently do. This, on the other hand, is a very expensive one. This is the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer. This is in the shade R2, and it's just really a perfect, like, brightening color for my under eyes because of how well it blends out. It is really, really light, but with the shades of foundation that I use and how well this blends out, it's just such a great brightening shade for me for my under eyes. I think I forgot to tell you, I am in the shade 115 in the Maybelline Makeup Eraser, and again, R2 in the Natasha Denona. So I will be keeping all of those. As for powders, I have the number 7 Light Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Press Powder, and I actually quite love this powder. I think it's beautiful. It lays on the skin beautifully, and I've even used it on my under eyes, and it sits really pretty on my under eyes, so I like the powder. I'll hold on to that powder. And then I have the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfector Blurring Under Eye Powder, and this one is in the shade Medium. And, I really don't know what I was thinking when I purchased this for my under eyes. I like a brighter under eye, and this is about my skin tone. So what I have been doing is just taking a fluffy brush and using this all over my face, and I love it. It's kind of got a little bit of this, like, beautiful luminosity to it that just brightens the face and makes it look healthy. So I have been using that for that purpose. That Pat McGrath one was so pretty, and I liked it so much that I went out and also purchased the light version. I think that you guys saw that in a recent haul, specifically for my under eyes. I think I had 3 primers in here, one of which was my Hourglass Veil Primer. I ended up rolling this into my project pan, and you guys can see I scraped out everything. It's now decanted into another component because I couldn't get anything out of here anymore. So this is a beautiful primer. I love it so much. It was half used when I rolled it in here. It was down to here when I rolled it into Project Pan. I will use it up within the next probably month. So that obviously will stay in my collection for now. I also have this e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. Huge. This bottle is huge. I think this was meant to be like a foundation, but I have been using it as a primer because, is this a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury, whatever the product by Charlotte Tilbury is like this? This is like straight up highlighty glow. So I either was using this as a foundation or as a primer underneath my foundation, which I actually quite like it for that purpose or as a liquid illuminator. I'm using it in all the ways it wants to be used except for alone as a foundation. It's just far too glowy. I guess if I use this and put that Pat McGrath powder on top of it, it would be very pretty. I might try that. I do love it as a primer, and because it's so glowy, it makes your skin appear with this nice, like, lit from within, healthy glow to it. This is the Glowish Blur Jam. Look, I don't feel any differently about this product than I felt, you know, right after I brought it in. But I will say, I don't mind using this product. I know how it needs to be used. It's just, you know, kind of a jam, like consistency. And it's really good for holding your makeup in place. And I also feel like it's really good for kind of diffusing the look of all your pores and giving you that airbrushed effect. I really do feel like this is an amazing primer. I didn't like it at first because you really do have to like let it sit on your skin for a good, you know, 60 seconds to maybe even 2 to 5 minutes before you put a foundation over the top of it. It can cause a lot of pilling. I just make sure if I'm using it, put this on, do my eye makeup, and then come back to finish my face makeup. 5 minutes has well passed at that point in time. That's when I like this best. You can't go over the top of it immediately with makeup or it will cause pilling issues. It's not my favorite, but I'll hold on to it. Moving over to eyeshadows. This is not a great eye primer. I actually also put this into my project pan because I'm just going to try and get it out of my collection. Honestly, I don't think it does anything for my makeup application. It doesn't help with blendability. It doesn't help with the shadows sticking. I think it does maybe help with fading, but it also doesn't like blank out your eyelids. It's clear. So it doesn't, there's nothing, I mean, it's soft. It feels nice and silicone-y and slippy. But I feel like it doesn't do anything that I would want it to do as an eyeshadow primer. It reminds me a lot of the Primer Potion. I'm not a fan of Primer Potion. It's not bad, I just don't love it. So I did put it into my project pan, so that is going to stay until it ceases to exist in my collection because of project pan. And this is something that came into my collection last year in my Beautylish Lucky Bag, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do with this. I didn't know what to do with it. But because of the color of it, I decided to use it as an eye primer. This is the Hindash Color Fluid Ultra Matte in Canvas. And I love this as an eye primer. So that is what I use it for. That is the place that it exists in my collection, and I love it. And when it's gone, I want more. I also use this NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil as a eye primer, especially when I'm using crazy colors, because the white will blank out anything that is going on in my lids as far as veining. This is in the shade Milk. It works really, really well as an eye primer. I use a lot of my shadow sticks as eye primer. So, I mean, this one's no different. This one I actually only use as an eye primer. I don't think I've used it as anything else. It will forever stay in my collection because I am forever using all kinds of different, like, crazy colored eye shadows to create a look. And that one really helps to just make those shadows pop. Especially blues. Like, that looks really good under blues. These are beautiful, very, very impactful cream eyeshadows that nobody talks about, that they should talk about them for sure, because they are gorgeous. These are the KVD Dazzle Sticks, and I will forever hold on to these just because I think that they are beautiful and deserve so much more hype than they get. But I mean, this is just 2 of them. Like, are you kidding me? This one I've used so much. Obviously you can see that it's further down than any of the other ones. I do have the 4 shades that I am showing you here. These are the only ones I have. I do think that there were a couple of other shades, but not shades that I thought I needed to bring into my collection at the time that I purchased these guys. I use this red one an awful lot too. We have Electra Bolt, Peachy Gold. Then I have Green Flash, Flash Storm, and Heat Blast. So, I mean, really beautiful. They deserve a lot more love than what they get in the community, but oh God, I cannot let those go. I have this Natasha Denona Chromium Liquid Eyeshadow. Mine is in the shade Infra Nude. And while I thought that this was going to be all kinds of dried up and gross, it's definitely not. You can tell it's super moisture rich still. I used it several times actually over the last month. It's definitely multi-chromatic. I don't know if you guys can see that real well in the swatches, but I will hold on to that. I've had it for quite some time. So this is a matte eye paint from About Face. I actually have 7 total. I have 5 minis and then I have these 2. So I have Vintage Granada and Dionysus. And I think that they're beautiful. I use these a lot for colored mascaras, you guys. If you take these on a fan brush, just pull this out, take it on a fan brush, and then put it over the top of your lashes like you've got a beautiful colored mascara. I mean, if it's good enough for your eyes, it's good enough for your lashes. That's my motto. And I use all 7 of them in that way. So I think that they're beautiful. I will always have those in my collection as long as they exist. I also have this Moonstone shadow by Urban Decay. This is in the shade Solstice. I love this shadow. So pretty. Such a beautiful little topper that just really doesn't do anything for an eye look but make it better. Like, it's such a great, like, just something to dip your hand into and pop, pop, pop on your lid. Any color that you put this over the top of, it's going to cool it down a little bit. So if you like pop it into like a too warm of an eye look, it's going to give it like this blue like sparkle look to it. You can see it's got a little bit of a warm base, but it doesn't really show up with that warmth in an eye look. I found that it cools down an eye look, and I did use this quite a bit over the last time frame with this, which you all know I was struggling with. Look at how pretty that is. Like, it is just this really beautiful shade of like periwinkle, like a really pastel-y periwinkle that is so nice. And again, like just popping it over the top of any eyeshadow look just gave it so much more oomph. So this is just a reminder, the ColourPop Super Shock eyeshadow that I made with ColourPop at my field leadership conference last year, and I call it cotton candy. Moving into blushes, I did pull in these because they were new to my collection at the time that I rolled into the Shop My Stash. We have the Fill In Cheeky Amplify blush duos from Give Beauty. I have Stars Aligned and Flirty Talk. This is Stars Aligned, really beautiful, kind of like mauve tone. I know that these look super similar, but they look really nice and different on the face. This one I actually really love, both this crazy orange one and this more yellow toned orange one. Like, gorgeous blushes. So happy to have these in my life. Then I have the Bare Minerals bronzer. This one was new to me as well, in Kiss of Mauve. A new shade from them in the bronzers, or in the bronzers. This one I think is the only one that I picked up from the new shades that they came out with. I wear a lot of like mauves in my eye looks, so I wanted to pick this up. I also got a ton of use out of this. So even though I think that this one on the bottom of the Give Beauty Stars line and this one look really similar, I feel like this one from Bare Minerals is a lot more like sheeny than this one is, but so similar. This one, it was also new to me at the time that I did this rotation. This is the Dior Glow Rosy Blush in the shade Berry. New blush. This can get really deep, very like grape Kool-Aid, but I really love a dark moody blush, and I actually found myself using this quite a bit over the last several months. This one by Beauty Counter was also new to me at the time. This is the Cheeky Clean Cream Blush, and let me just tell you, I think that you can see I used the poop out of this. Truly a really beautiful, creamy, natural tone blush that I just could not seemingly get enough of over its time in this Shop My Stash. So really happy that I brought this into my collection. Now this is a Becca blush, and this is in the shade Songbird, and I don't mind this blush, but man, this is such a pigmented blush, so you really have to be super careful with it. I don't find that its formulation has changed at all. I do love it so much. I love the Becca formula. I wish that a Smashbox, I wish they would come out with more of Becca's things. This was another item that I purchased for that full face of drugstore makeup product. This is a blush stick by ColourPop, and I actually have used so dang much of this. I love this blush stick so much. It is such a beautiful, like, just cool toned mauve shade. I really do like a mauve blush. This is the Tower 28 Beach Please blush in Power Hour. You know, a lot of people say that these go bad really quickly. I think this has been in my collection for something like 2 years now at this point. The smell of it hasn't changed. The formulation of it hasn't changed. I'm not seeing any kind of, you know, weirdness in the pan, except for my brush hairs that are in this pan. I hold on to it because there's not really any reason to let go of it, and there still continues to be no reason to let go of it. So I'm gonna keep holding on to it. I do love that blush. It is also really, really pigmented, so you can go super ham on it. This one is my Ophir blush in the shade Bellini. This is a really beautiful, just light tone, peachy shade that goes really well with almost anything because it looks very, very natural on the skin. I love this Ophir blush, and I've used it a grip ton, but you would never be able to tell because all of the embossing is still on the pan. So I don't know, super hard pressed or something, but really beautiful blush. Then we have bronzers and highlights. So this is the Bare Minerals highlighting blush in the shade Opal Glow. And when I first purchased it, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it because it's actually supposed to be a blush, right? It's called a highlighting blush. I like glowy blushes. I don't like highlighty blushes, if that makes any sense. This is actually a pretty perfect, like, pinky highlighter on my skin. It's just so pretty. So I'm really glad I got this shade. I'm really happy to have it. This was new to me when I rolled it in. This was also new to me when I rolled it in. And this is the Ritual de Rare Light Cream Luminizer in the shade Solaris. This just happened to be at one of my stores, and I have an admiration and an adoration for Ritual de as a brand. I love their cream illuminators, cream blushes, all the things. I've actually had to declutter one. These ones do go bad super, super fast, but this one is new. This is a like duochrome one. So it's like this like opal shade with a flip to like pink. Oh, it's so pretty. So I wore this quite a bit. And then the Give Beauty Check My Glow multi-dimensional illuminating highlighter in Platinum Cowboy. This is so pretty. I think it's because of all the different colors in it, but man, you mix it around and it is just such a beautiful glow. But I also found myself just dipping into any one of the 3 different shades in here for like inner corner highlighter, brow bone. Really, really easy highlighter to use, to be honest, and just so pretty. So also was new to me when I rolled it into this Shop My Stash. A lot of these products were new to me, honestly, when I rolled these into Shop My Stash, because I think I rolled them in right after my birthday month. So I had a lot of stuff that I brought in during my birthday month. This actually kind of shocked me because it is a loose highlighter, and I don't typically love loose highlighters, and this was actually on a list of items that I was going to declutter, and I actually took it out of the declutter bin and put it into my regular stash and then put it into my Shop My Stash because I wanted to try it out. I haven't tried this from Sydney Grace before, and I love Sydney Grace powder highlighters, you know, press pan highlighters, so I thought I would try this. This is the loose highlighter in the shade Pink Lightning by Sydney Grace. I love Sydney Grace. I think that you guys can see that in the pan. It's just, or in the cap, it's just so pretty. And like, see me from the moon, Stark. This, oh God, it's like wearing the Tin Man on your face. I feel like when you take it with, I mean, that is obviously very like saturated and finger swatched, right? But when you take it with a loose highlighting brush, it is just as beautiful and impactful, but not as stark. It's still brilliant, but it's just not as like stark. So I love it. I'm going to keep it. It's the only loose highlighter that I'll have in my collection, but I'm going to keep it. This I liked a lot. I feel like this is a great mixer. I don't love it on its own as a bronzer. I do think that this would work really well for deepening up any of my foundations that are maybe too light for me during the summertime. And I can get some use out of it that way. I didn't love it as a standalone bronzer. I felt like it was just a smidge bit too orange going onto my skin in that way. This was another shocker for me. Another product that I purchased in that drugstore makeup haul, Get Ready With Me. This is the Revolution Beauty Cream Bronzer, and the best part about this is when I picked it up, I didn't realize, because I'm not a drugstore shopper, that there were 3 different tones of this. Now, I didn't realize that I was picking up the deep version of this. I guess it's called dark. As stated earlier, I am very light. This actually blends out so good on my fair light skin that I'm gonna keep it. I loved using this, and it works well for like even the like contouring areas of my skin as well because it's so deep. So I love it. These were so good. I love these bronzers. I bought this during my birthday month. The imprint is almost gone. I use this so much. I cannot with that bronzer. I love it so much. This is the Pat McGrath one in the shade Nude Honey. And then this one, the Dior one, also the imprint is almost gone on that. And this is the Dior Forever Natural Bronze in the shade Amber Bronze. Also really nice. I feel like both of these are really neutral based bronzers, so they don't look too orange or too pink or too red on my skin. They're just really perfect for my skin tone. And the last thing that we have to go over are lips. And I had this in here, which I did put into my project pan, so it's no longer living in here, but I do love it. It will stay, obviously, because it's now in my project pan. I do have some lip liners in here. Yes, I even use the red one. I don't mind any of these. Actually, I love, oh, this one's lip liner too. These two I absolutely love. One is Milani in the shade All Natural, and the other one is Natasha Denona's Natasha. You can see this was a full size and it's now very small, so I obviously use the poop out of that. These two I just started using through the Shop My Stash, I think. This one in Bumble I actually quite love, and it's a little bit deeper and more red in tone than I have ever liked before. So it was a shock to me. This one I used a couple times, but then found myself in love with this one. It's called Starship. I also like it. I don't find that they are either one of them shades I need to get rid of. The red one, I don't wear red often, but I do love these Clinique quick liners for lips intense. I think that they stay really well. They're really great lip liners, so I will hold on to them. I did use the Lunar Beauty liquid lip in the shade, I can't remember what shade this is, but I'll put it on the screen. This is so old in my collection, but it smells fine still, and it goes really well with this lip liner, so I will hold on to it. This was actually quite beautiful. I found myself pulling for this a lot as a gloss just because it did its best to make sure that my lips looked juicy and beautiful and was really good going over the top, specifically of this lip liner. So I used that a lot. You guys, I'm really not sure about these Odensai lip glosses. Like, I want to love them so much. I love the color of them for sure, especially this spectral one. It's a little bit deeper, but it's a gloss, so it doesn't look awful. But I found that these created that whole like white ring around the inside of my lips if I didn't like pay really close attention to them, and I'm just not about that life. So I'm gonna give them, you know, a little bit more time with me focusing in on them before I make a decision, but they might likely go. I don't love that from a lip gloss. I don't think anybody does, to be honest. So those might go. This lip gloss, the Maybelline Lifter Gloss, really beautiful. I do have it in the shade Moon. It's really, really coral, so I think it'll be better for me in the summertime. I really like this lip oil by Dior, but what I will say is that I don't feel like this is as hydrating as it could be for a lip oil. I love it. I think it feels good initially, but at the end of the day, I felt like maybe my lips were just a smidge bit drier. I'm going to give it some more time. I did like it and upon initial application. This is a Dior Addict lipstick in the shade Beige Oblique. I actually quite like this shade. It goes on really nicely. It's just kind of like on my lips, but better. It feels like a gloss. It's really beautiful. I want a new case for this. I love this, so I will be holding on to that. Natasha Denona and the shade Noah. I think that I love this lip shade over the top of a more pinky lip liner and or topped with a pinky gloss or a milky gloss, like a really like almost peachy colored milky gloss looks really good over the top of this. I love this shade. This is again in the shade Noah. And I purchased this because Samantha March said something about, you know, this is good for those girls who buy Very Victoria because they're a little too neutral or olive complected for Pillow Talk to look good on them. And speaking of, I have Very Victoria here because Pillow Talk does not look good on me, but this one does. So this also is the brown version of this peachy color. I love these both so dang much. So these will forever be in my collection. And honestly, this Stila calligraphy lip stain I loved. The applicator of it is very, very strange, but it helps to get around those really fine lines in your lips, right? So you could line your lips, but then you can also just flip it on its side and fill really super easily and not have to like spend a lot of time kind of trying to maneuver your pencil because maybe it's on a doe foot and the doe foot is too big. Like, I loved this, and the color was really pretty perfect. I loved this with this over the top of it. I don't love it as much as I love the Fenty Beauty Poutsicles, but I do love it. So that is everything that was in my Shop My Stash. We will be rotating on pause. So I am going to put all of this stuff back into my collection, except for this, which is the one thing that we decluttered, which I'm really still super shocked about, but it is old and it is the wrong color. I will come back to you probably in March with a new Shop My Stash. If not March, definitely April, and we will get some new products rolled into my Shop My Stash. I'm so excited to just take a reprieve from Shop My Stash, put this stuff back into my collection, and do some collection videos for y'all. So that's where we're at right now. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. I hope that you guys had a really great time walking through these products with me, hearing my thoughts and opinions. And I love you guys so much. I hope that you and yours are well. I hope that you are all safe and healthy and getting along as best you can. This year is our year, you guys. So just go forth with that positive energy. Trust the process. Know that you're putting it out. You're manifesting it out into the world that this is our year. So this truly is our year. I trust that it's my year. I know that it'll be yours as well. I hope that you guys are loving each other, but loving each other from afar. And until next time, bye friends.